Saint Joan of Arc, the teenage heroine who changed France. Imagine being just 13 years old and hearing voices that tell you that God has chosen you to save your country. Most people would be afraid. Others would ignore them. But one young peasant girl believed, and her courage changed history forever. This is the remarkable story of Saint Joan of Arc. Joan was born around 1412 in the small village of Domremy, in France. She came from a poor farming family and never received a formal education. She spent her days helping her parents with farm work and caring for animals. At the time, France was suffering through the devastating 100 Years' War. English forces controlled much of the country, and many French people feared their kingdom would collapse. When Joan was about 13 years old, she said she began receiving visions and messages from heaven. She believed saints and angels were speaking to her, urging her to help France and support the rightful heir to the throne. As Joan grew older, the voices became more urgent. They told her that she must travel to meet the Dauphin, Prince Charles, who would later become King Charles VII. This seemed impossible. Joan was a teenage peasant girl with no military training, no wealth, and no influence. Yet she remained determined. After convincing local officials to help her, she traveled across dangerous territory to meet the prince. When she finally arrived, many doubted her. Some believed she was simply imagining things. But Joan spoke with such confidence and conviction that Charles agreed to listen. Soon, she was given armor, a horse, and a banner. In 1429, Joan joined the French army during the critical siege of Orleans. The city had been surrounded by English forces and was on the verge of falling. Joan inspired the soldiers with her faith and courage. She carried her banner into battle and encouraged the troops to keep fighting. Against all expectations, the French forces broke the siege and achieved a stunning victory. News of the victory spread rapidly throughout France. Many began to see Joan as a messenger sent by God. After several military successes, Joan urged Charles to travel to the city of Reims for his coronation. The journey was risky because enemy forces controlled much of the route. But Joan remained confident. The French army advanced, and city after city opened its gates. Finally, in July 1429, Charles was crowned King Charles VII. Joan stood nearby during the ceremony, watching the mission she believed God had given her come true. But Joan's story did not end in triumph. In 1430, she was captured by enemy forces. She was imprisoned and put on trial. The trial was heavily political. Her enemies wanted to discredit her and weaken the French king. Joan faced skilled judges and church officials who questioned her for months. Despite being a teenager, she answered many difficult questions with remarkable intelligence and courage. Eventually, she was found guilty of charges that many historians consider unjust. In 1431, at only 19 years old, Joan was executed. Witnesses reported that she remained faithful and prayerful until the very end. Her death shocked many people, but her story did not disappear. Years later, a new investigation reviewed her trial and declared that the original verdict had been wrong. Her name was cleared, and she became a symbol of faith, courage, and sacrifice. Centuries later, Joan's influence continued to grow. In 1920, the Catholic Church officially declared her a saint. Today, Saint Joan of Arc is remembered as one of history's most extraordinary figures, a young woman who trusted her faith, stood firm in the face of fear, and changed the course of a nation. A poor farm girl, a warrior, a martyr, a saint. More than 600 years later, the story of Joan of Arc continues to inspire millions around the world, proving that courage and conviction can come from even the most unexpected person. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories of saints and miracles.